There were terrible calls. Do we want to go ahead and jump in?
After further review. After further review.
After further review.
Tom, a little bit earlier in the show, you said a little more on that later. You got something you want to turn our attention to get us started for upon further review?
Yeah, I went back and I rewatched Oregon Penn State. And obviously, if you're a Penn State fan, it hurts. You lost the game again. You made the nice rally towards the end of the game. But I do think if there is a silver lining to suggest that maybe there's a chance you can win this game later or one of these games later, it's that the Jim Knowles hire works. I thought that Penn State's defense overall, and we talked about it on the reaction show, there was a lot of holding, which was negating a lot of the pass rush for both teams. But they did a great job of going out there and taking away what Oregon was best at. And that has been big plays all season long, an explosive offense that gets chunk yardage and just completely blows you out of the water and destroys you and strips you of your confidence. Oregon had a 7.7% explosive play rate in this game, which is their lowest of the season by far. Their previous lowest was 15.6 against Montana State. So they pretty much halved it. So if you are Penn State, you know that you have a defense that is capable of slowing down one of the best offenses in the country. That's what you learned on Saturday night. That's what you need to know when you have Ohio State coming, or when you get to the back of the Big Ten championship and whoever you're facing there, or you get to the playoff and you're going to face another good offense. That defense, if I'm a Penn State fan, it's like I'm still upset I lost the game. I still wish I would have won it, but I feel like I'm confident that my defense can win me a game, even if my quarterback and that offense isn't that good, because you almost just saw it happen on Saturday night.
On that note, I bet you Drew Aller has a better career than any of these Penn State receivers, like NFL-wise. I think they're slightly upgraded from where they were last year, but like those guys don't look like difference makers to me. Maybe Pena was like a stat king last year at Syracuse, but like when he faces real competition, doesn't look anything special to me. Doesn't look like a pro.
I thought Oregon's deal. I was doing my best in the hotel room to have. There were actually like two TVs in the room, so I would like run around to one side, run around to the other to be able to like go back and forth, and had the radio call for Oregon Penn State beside the computer I was working on. But I thought Oregon's defensive plan to really confuse Penn State was good. The fact that the wide receivers didn't stand out might have been some work that was done Monday through Friday. Where it's just the pivot points for Andy Kotelnicki and for Drew Aller and for Penn State's offense. I mean, they did not look comfortable. And I thought that Oregon's defensive plan, that's one thing. We talk a lot about Will Stein, and we talk a lot about Dante Moore looking like Dante Moore, some huge throws in this game, as we talked about. But man, the conversation about Oregon as one of the best teams in the country, I think the piece that I did not recognize as much coming into the season, and I'm continuing to become more impressed with, is that defensively, they do have one of the best defensive units as well. And when you are a national championship team, you got to be top 10 in both of those. And I don't think there are 10 defenses I would take ahead of Oregon's right now.
Bear Alexander was really good for Oregon in this game. Do you know who the second highest rated player on Penn State's offense was?
Lineman included?
Yeah.
Is it a lineman?
No.
Oh, who?
It's a quarterback.
Drew Aller?
Yeah. Like PFF basically just thinks the rest of this Penn State offense sucks around him. I don't know that I totally agree with, but like I don't think these receivers are anything special, and they're not getting pushed in the run game.
I don't think Penn State's offense is anybody on that unit's really coding itself in glory. Like you take that Aller might be better in the NFL than the receivers, maybe, but then I think of what Trey Wallace is doing at Ole Miss. It's like he looks suddenly very good in an offense that's getting him open and has quarterbacks who can get him the ball and who are actually willing to take shots when he's in man-on-man coverage. Whereas Drew Aller, I feel like one of his bigger problems is he is terrified of pulling the trigger in a lot of situations where sometimes you just kind of have to pull the trigger.
Oregon's the best team in the country right now.
Oh,
okay.
You think that's controversial?
Yeah, I think Ohio State over Oregon.
So here's my take on Ohio State. And now this is where right now, if you had me take one team, I would take Oregon. Talk to me again in December or the Big Ten championship game or the playoffs if these two teams meet. I don't think Ohio State trusts Julian Sand yet. I don't think they have to. And I think it's kind of like when we talked to Ryan Day and he was talking about game management, load management, like we didn't really care. I think that's the approach he's taking with Julian saying. They're really not exposing too much in a game like that. They're not asking him to do too much because the defense is so good. That's why the first half's kind of slow. They don't really do it. They just trust their defense. And they have, quick hitting touchdown, the crossing route to Jeremiah Smith to get things under control. Like, I don't think it matters. But that's where I think the development of Julian Sain is something to keep an eye on. Like, does he start to get more comfortable? Do they trust him more in the system? Because I think right now they have a very, very tight leash on Julian Sain. And what I saw from Dante Moore in Oregon is they're throwing the ball in situations where you're like, oh my gosh, they're still being aggressive here. Like, they trust him. I trust Oregon more right now than I trust Ohio State.
Remember how he had the Whoop data? Oh, so no free ads. Remember how he had like the heartbeat data at the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, for JT.
Yeah. What do you think Dante Moore's is?
45.
Yeah,
whatever horse is sitting around right now.
He gets skittish.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. He looked the way he operated in the pocket, operated within the system. I thought he looked in complete control. I know our Mike Renner, and I like Fernando Mendoza too, but I think I'm giving the edge to Dante Moore if I was looking at the next level.
Oh, we get to see them play too on October 11th in Autzen Stadium. That game is going to be good.
I think Ohio State has so many difference makers on defense and at receiver that I agree Oregon has the quarterback advantage. I don't think it's so big that it overcomes the other edges that Ohio State has.
Yeah, Julian Sain ain't Craig Krenzel, but Ohio State right now looks like one of those old national title contenders with a bus driver of a quarterback and just freaks everywhere else. And it's a fun debate. I think that's one of the fun debates coming out of this week is an Ohio State, Oregon, who you got. AP voters, obviously, given the heavy edge to the Buckeyes, and we don't have a regular season game to be able to put them against each other. But I think that is a very fun debate for college football fans to be having this week. All right, Ohio State, Oregon, who you got tomorrow? Who you got in December if they play for the Big Ten title? Who you got in January if they meet up in the college football playoff semifinals? Like, I really like what I've seen from both of those teams.
So yesterday in my playoff, I had Ohio State, Miami, Oregon, Texas Tech, right? Which I think reflects what we're seeing at the top of the sport with like the best Big Ten teams. And I think clearly look better than what the SEC has. I think the SEC is pretty clearly deeper overall. So I had 5 SEC teams in, none of them getting a bye. And then I had, 2 Big Ten buys because, like if Oregon runs it and Ohio State runs it, there's no way they're dropping Oregon to 5th or Ohio State to 5th if one of them loses the Big Ten championship game.
Even outside of the way the bracket plays out, you could say that SEC has 10 of the top 20 teams in the country and none of the top 3.
Yeah. Yeah. So the top 4 teams in SP Plus this week are all Big Ten. And the SEC's average rating is still 4.5 points higher.
But I blame UCLA for that. That's all UCLA.
That's all UCLA.
Yeah, the bottom 2 are really bad.
And Northwestern, who played each other and just drug each other down even further and even further. Hey,
going back to Danny's point about saying, I don't think that Ohio State was putting everything on his plate in this game, but I think they trust him. I just don't. He went on the road. It's his first road start. It's in one of the tougher environments you're ever going to play in. And he was 22-28. 2 touchdowns, no mistakes. Didn't make a ton of big plays, but he didn't make any of the bad plays that you would expect a freshman to make.
How many times did he throw the ball downfield?
Not that
Not
often,
many.
But did you watch Washington's coverage? There's a whole lot of quarters.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably didn't want to give up the big play.
Mm-hmm.
Which they're probably going to – Ohio State's probably going to see a lot of that.
Yeah, they didn't have Taco Davis. They didn't have their best pass rusher. They were dropping back a lot just to try to keep everything in front of them. And I think that he did the thing that a lot of freshmen don't. He took what was there. He trusted his teammates. A lot of freshmen are like, oh, God, I got to make something happen here. I'm the guy. I'm the man. I've been since I was 12.
DK. Oh, sorry. Anything else on Oregon, Penn State before we? Obviously, we'll be talking about those teams a lot. Probably even on Tuesday's Big Ten show on CBS Sports Network, noon Eastern time.
So a Penn State fan reads it like, hey, what do I do? Like, oh, here we go again. I would not throw them out just yet. They'll be fine. Like, I do think it's going to be a question every time they face a good team. they were close to getting it done. And if Drew Aller doesn't lock in on his guy and just, make a boneheaded throw in that situation, who knows? Maybe they come out with the win and we're talking about it completely different, but they did claw their way back. Maybe that's something, maybe that's what they needed to see was, hey, we can score fast. We can get 2 touchdowns on the board. We can sustain drives. Maybe that's the sort of loss that kind of wakes them up the way that Bama did for them, losing to Florida State.
Do you guys want to go for some engagement?
Yes.
Sure. All right. Give me 2 seconds of silence here. Let's set it up. Does Penn State win that game with Bo Pribula?
Oh, man.
I don't think he makes some of those throws Aller made. He might make the run game a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't run the ball.
Guys, we're going
Which
for
opens things up.
We're going for engagement here, guys. All right, let's start over.
Reset.
Yeah.
Does Penn State win that game with Bo Pribula?
By 3 touchdowns.
Out of the water.
I agree. I just think that they made a huge mistake letting Bo Pribula walk out of that door during the middle of the playoffs, by the way. I think that was a huge mistake on Penn State's part. And if James Franklin was doing a good job, he would have kept Pribula and kicked Aller out, and they'd be undefeated right now.
To your point, to your point, with his athleticism, with the way he runs the ball, it does change the way they have to defend you, which opens up easier throws in the pass game. So maybe you don't have to have him make many great throws. He's making a lot more easy ones.
How many national championships does Eli Drinkwitz win at Penn State with Bo Pribula?
Well, he only gets them for 4 seasons, so I'm going to go with 4.
Okay.